Sorry about the little break. Um, you're not to have any information. So that's what we're seeing now is the more information you have and the more you know, and the more your brain gets to moving, the more you'll change the energy around here. That's what's going on. That's why one of the tenets of America is, oh, you have free speech. You can say whatever you want to say. And you see now they're suppressing free speech. Let some people get up there who knows what they're talking about, and you just stop telling us the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's boring. It doesn't teach anybody anything. And you're also creating a situation where the people are becoming less fearful. The people are becoming less fearful. So you have people who are looking at, hey, my kids. And many indigenous people realize that their connection to everything is through their mothers and their kids. All we do is recycle through. Isn't that what your stories tell you? Isn't that what the spiritual stories that you're told? See, you didn't have it like they have it. See, you just did it. They had to write it down in books, and 90% of the time they lied. They have whole departments set up in these universities devoted to teach you that you came over here pissing and shitting on each other on a ship. And many of y'all believe that like you believe Jesus is coming back. Whatever they say, you believe. But whatever your folks left you 100, 200 years ago, you don't want to have nothing to do with it. You skip over that and go to Africa. And you wonder why you in the position you in. You don't ever, since you want to play We Are the World with everyone, you don't ask people, well, why do you come over here to America? Come over here for you. You don't see the Africans snatching your children up, trying to sell your you don't see that. Don't even care. Don't even care. So that's the African American. So the African American was created to get rid of. So you just can't, because they noticed, remember all the wars, the Indian wars that went down. It created a ripple effect through the environment. People were running away. People were moving to other places. I'm talking about in hordes of people, not just one or two people. Families were being relocated. So they realized in order to finish what the war started, all you have to do is keep moving them. Keep moving them. But not just moving them physically, moving them psychologically too. Keep making them think there's something that they weren't previously. So the reason for the term Black is so you would get away from the Negro. The reason they called you Negro, so you would get away from the popular term. Because the names that we called ourselves, the towns and stuff that we called ourselves, many of those were destroyed because war was being waged. And don't act like you wasn't part of those wars, because you were. See, you can't let somebody tell you your history. You gotta go find it. It's your life. You don't, I mean, what, does the average person search their mama? Where did your mama grow up? What was going on when she was growing up? What was the time happening around the time she got pregnant with you? You ask the average Negro that, I don't know. I mean, won't even study they self. Will study what some asshole tell you and won't even study yourself. Then you get mad when somebody call your ass out. What do you think? With what you see in the world going on right now, and I know y'all see it, what you think is going to happen to the African American? With what you see going on in the world as we move forward, where do you see the African American? Come on, give me, some of y'all know. Some of y'all know. See, that's why we tell you that you ain't no African. And everybody coming over here know it. They know it. They got stories. They know more about your folks than the average African American knows. We're not the same people. They do things different over there on the other side of the pond. Their behaviors are different. It's about life over here. Who can produce the sweetest watermelons? Who can build the best town? We can deviate with these natural disasters that come through. Who knows a shortcut? Our behavior is different than theirs. I know many of us, we try to be like them. Oh yeah, we do. Different histories, different backgrounds. So we can't be the same people. But many of us will try to mold ourselves into what they are, and you have what you have today. They'll make up, they're working on a designation for you right now. You ever wonder how come African Americans, their parents have Negro on their birth certificates? You ever asked that question? You ever ask the people who got Negro on their birth certificate, what do they mamas have on theirs? You ever ask that? They change these terms every generation or so. See, the time when you were calling yourself Black to the time you were calling yourself African American, 20 years. You see, the term African American is, I mean, more than 20 years. Significantly more than 20 years. You don't question that. That doesn't make you go, You don't question that? No. Why? What is the plan for the African American? Because damn near all your Historically black colleges, those are in the hand of Africans now. Ask the people who go to the institutions. What is to be done with the African American? Seriously. And just like many walked up to get this jab, many will do whatever they're told. That's the African American. That's what was made. See, when they were making the African, remember the African American is not a black person. It's a clone of a black person. They call them something else. They give them some different wigs and weaves, some different baseball caps. They dress them up. They may make them sag their pants. See, black men didn't sag their pants. African Americans do. There's a big difference. This is what happens when you domesticate. When you're domesticating these people, you have to give them, they have to be a certain way. So what is it to become of the African American? Hmm? Hmm? You have invited everybody. You have supported every nationality that comes over here. And they come over here to service you. You do know that, right? We still trying to get jobs. With what we have, the people we have now, you could build anything, but refuse to do it. Why? Especially the people in higher education, higher learning. Why? Because they're trying to get a check. They're trying to get a check. Does that work? Especially when it's not working for your interest. All this building going on in America, and you're not part of it, that doesn't make you scratch your head. So that's what I'm saying about these cats. They can be your teachers forever. I don't know. They teach you what they're told. That's why kids don't like going to school, because it's boring and shitty. And you're gonna force them to go back to school. And that's what gets me. The African American is not gonna come up with a proper education for the children. They're not gonna do it. That's not what they do. Their job is to make sure their children go to it. That's what an African American does, right or wrong. See, pretty soon you guys gonna have to stop playing with this. It should have been done. So you gotta ask yourself, what's going on with the African American community? These are the questions you gotta ask yourself. Those of you who think, who's thinking life, who's expanding, so let's say if you're 20 now, and like say you're at age 25, you want to own your own house. You're expanding your thoughts and experience and all that. Those type people are basically the people who my message is for. If you're gonna be the same person that got the same tattoo at 15, if you still stuck there at 15, stay there, cuz you will not be of any help. So get with your mothers, find out where she's from, find out who her mama was, and just start doing a little bit of research on your grandmama and mama. Do some research on yourself. Then you see where you belong. You will see where, what are you supposed to do? Yeah, that's another thing that's good. The day you were born. What was going on the day you were born? Didn't you have something to do with that? See, these are spiritual practice that the indigenous people have. They are not a separate from nature. They're part of it. See, other people think nature is something you're supposed to tear up and make money off of. You didn't say it like that. You have way too much material, raw natural material to build houses instead of cutting down the trees. There's a whole different way of living. And since we, the African American, the Black, the Negro, since we've been rushing away from that, because you have to admit, most Negroes are petrified of nature. Petrified. Swimming. We don't want to go swimming. We don't want to mess up our hair. Right? You don't want to mess up that weave. So when I say the African American, where do you think they're headed? And who do you think is leading them there? So this is what cats like this is about. To take you, to knock you off your square. To get you away from your home. Teaching you that you something that you're clearly not. Clearly not. I mean, I could see if we resembled those people. Not in the least. Not a smidgen. And so this is what a lot of these cats, what they're called. They're called gatekeepers. As you're searching for knowledge, as you're trying to get better, stronger, smarter, more intelligent, these cats are there feeding you bullshit. Until you get mature enough to ask them to find out that they're bullshitting you, then you move on, you evolve on, you do something else. All these cats. So it's like the Nation of Islam. So when people tell me about the Nation of Islam, I'm like, well, how is Fard Muhammad? Isn't he from Pakistan? The average Negro don't even know that. Why would you take a Pakistani religion and foist it on the people here? I don't know. Assalamu alaikum. That's the kind of shit the African American does. That's the kind of shit the African American does. Will pick up another man's religion, but won't even check the spiritual practices that their great grandmama did. See, that's some African American shit. So whenever you hear these cats telling you that you are African, and then this is the cold part about Runoko Rashidi. What gonna tell me, my grandmama was Cherokee? Then if your grandmama was Cherokee, nigga, how you get to be an African? Well, disappeared. Yeah. Yeah. Rick Moon used to drive Runoko Rashidi to his lectures. So this is how a lot of the confusion in the community started, with not just with brothers like him, preachers, all these charlatan cats, letting you know that you something that you not. And what that does, it leaves you looking over somewhere else and have somebody somewhere else looking over here, and they see that you don't want to have nothing to do with it. That's what's happening now. So do some research on yourself, your family. Find out where they were from, find out what they did, because they normally come from a group of people that was doing some cool shit here in America. A lot of people were. You're connected to the soil here. What comes from the soil, what's produced from the soil, you produced it. Find out what that is. Stop believing, stop letting people tell you, you from Africa, you from Jerusalem, you a Bible character. None of that shit. No, your people had spiritual practices over here that slaps the shit out of them. And you have to know, your children have to know this. And the only way your children gonna know this is if you tell them. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Remember, you're not no African. Your home is here. A lot of people are trying to encroach on it right now, and start asking them, why are you leaving it? You got to ask yourself, why are these people leaving their homes? When you find out, you'll be more serious about it. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.